Welcome back, travelers of shadow and seekers of the strange. In tonight's episode, we bring you something different, something deeper. From the cold forests of Washington to the sun-scorched deserts of Arizona, from children frozen beneath watchful trees to glowing eyes at bedroom windows. These are encounters that resist logic and demand your attention. 4 years ago, deep in the woods outside Chewelah, Washington, a couple stayed in a yurt for a weekend retreat. It was midnight. They were playing cards by firelight when something slammed into the yurt's side. Startled, he opened the door and scanned the tree line with a flashlight. And there it was, something crouching, slender, white or gray, no eyeshine, no sound. It slinked away like a cat or a monkey on two legs, then four. Just a few seconds, and then it was gone. Was it Bigfoot? Maybe not, but it moved like nothing he'd ever seen before. December 21st, 2024. Just past 3:30 p.m. Driving south from Crested Butte, Colorado, a man gazes out across the Gunnison River. In the marshes beside the roaring Judy Fish hatchery, a figure stands, tall, black, motionless. 7, maybe 7.5 feet tall. Arms to the knees, shoulders squared. Staring away from the road, no fishing pole, no coat, just the cold. 20 degrees, a foot of snow. They turn around, try to find it, but the spot is gone, just a frozen quiet. He later learns others have seen the same figure, in the same place. An 18-year-old restaurant worker in Page, Arizona, sees something impossible. Driving home one night, he watches a figure cross the highway in 2 strides. It bends at the knees, but the knees are at his shoulder height. It wasn't a hallucination. It wasn't a trick. Just raw, inhuman movement. His Navajo mother says it may be a skinwalker, but he knows it wasn't. It didn't feel like a trickster. It felt real. He didn't believe in the supernatural until the eyes showed up. They glowed 8 to 10 feet high, watching him from the tree line outside his bedroom. Reddish-brown fur, powerful frame. It stood upright, then dropped to all fours and vanished into the night. The next morning, footprints, 18 inches long. He lives in Southern Virginia. This was no bear. It watched him, and then it left. 2 girls riding double on a farm horse near the marshy woods. The horse bucks, throws them both, and then they see it. 12 feet up on a branch stands something massive, like a gorilla, matted black and brown fur, sunken eyes, watching. It didn't chase, it didn't howl, it just stared. They ran, pulled the horse from the muck, and never returned. No one believed them, but they never forgot. A child sees what she believes is a bear. It stands near a house, perfectly still, 9 feet tall, black as night, but it has no snout. Years later, she returns, points to the eave of the house. It was taller than that. The eave is 9 feet off the ground. She Googles bear sizes and quietly wonders if maybe it wasn't a bear after all. He heard the sounds for weeks, knocking, howls, distant screaming. His dog always knew before he did, growling, sniffing the blinds. Then one night he saw it, glowing eyes, moonlight, 8 to 10 feet tall, running on 2 legs, then 4, back into the trees. In the daylight, prints, 18 inches long. Back in Ohio's Hocking Hills, a father and son returned to a gorge where they once heard vocalizations. No phones, just a recorder and a flashlight. Every escape trail is blocked by twisted trees, and when they throw a walking stick down the ravine, something breaks it, snaps it like a match. They walk home, in silence, until Valentine's Day when they say they'll return. There's something in the woods. It stands still. It slinks. It runs. It runs, it watches, and when it decides to show itself, it's not to hurt you. It's to make sure you remember. These stories are yours, and they are real. Until next time, stay watchful, and if you're in the woods, don't look away. Careful out there, treasure hunters, because along the Appalachian Trail, rumors are growing louder. Rumors that hikers and bikers have vanished, attacked, or killed by something not quite human. Authorities say it's nothing. Nature, misadventure, bad weather. but seasoned primatologists are testing blood samples and hair collected deep in the forest. And guess what? The DNA doesn't match any known species. Infrasound panic, rock throws, guttural voices. Something is out there. In this episode, we go international, into the deepest snow, the darkest caves, and across the quietest lakes, where dozens of witnesses have come face to face with the impossible. Deep in the frozen wilds of Ontario, a loyal dog turns tail and runs. In the Colorado Rockies, two hikers discover tracks no man could leave and are nearly struck by a boulder hurled through the night. And in Ohio's ancient hollows, a father and son knock on the trees, only to be answered with thunder. Tonight we journey across North America and beyond, into the dark forests of British Columbia, the snowbound lakes of Canada, and the thunderous cliffs of Hocking Hills. These aren't just stories. They're encounters, they're warnings, and they're all true. If you're a hiker, a hunter, or a treasure seeker headed into the wilderness, be careful. Something is out there, and it watches from just beyond the firelight. It was early 2012, deep winter in northern Ontario, the kind of cold that slices straight through your coat, the kind of silence that feels like a blanket pressing in from all sides. A man, his girlfriend, and a dog named Chester were headed to a family cottage nestled along the endless stretch of Onaping Lake, a place without roads where the only trail in was carved by snowshoes and sled runners. And Chester was no ordinary dog. Loyal, fearless, a big shepherd-type mutt who'd faced down wolves, porcupines, even horses. A dog who once chased two wolves the size of deer and came back proud, though not exactly smarter for it. Their first few days were uneventful, just snow, firewood, and wilderness. But on one of those foraging trips through waist-deep powder, the man discovered something odd, a hidden path, old, sunken into the ground. The kind of trail you'd never see in summer, and at the end of it, a tarp shelter. Inside, dry birch wood stacked neatly, dirt floor. It looked like someone or something had lived there. Recently, he took the wood, thought little of it, but 3 nights later he returned. Same path, same dark. This time alone with Chester, while his relatives partied back at the cabin. The night was moonless, no wind, not even the chirp of a bird or crack of a twig, just that sound, snow crunching beneath boots, and breath. And then Chester froze, no scent trailing, no playful darting into trees. His body language changed, tail down, ears back, posture lowered, and then he bolted. Abandoned the man, left him standing alone. Chester, the dog who would chase a bear off a cliff, just ran. That's when the man knew. This wasn't a rabbit or raccoon. Something else was watching them. He tried to scare it off, banging on the sled with firewood. The sound echoed like a war drum through the forest. Bam! 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 He waited. Silence. And then knock, knock, knock. 3 slow, deliberate knocks from deep in the trees, 20, maybe 25 meters away. No echoes, no repeat. Just a message, a conversation maybe. He loaded the sled, barely thinking, and got the hell out of there. Didn't tell his family, didn't sleep much. Later he would learn what researchers already knew. Bigfoot doesn't growl, it doesn't scream. Not first, it knocks. A territorial warning, a test. And he had answered back. Whatever it was listening. Onaping Lake, northern Ontario. So quiet the snow speaks, and something might just be listening. New Zealand's ancient forests carry more than just the echo of birdsong and the rustle of trees. Some say they hold a presence. Others, they have proof. November 9th, 2024. A solitary investigator hikes a restricted mountainside near Auckland, an area under quarantine, off limits to the public. Treacherous terrain, no trails, no signs of human life. But life was there. Armed with a parabolic microphone and infrared cameras, The man recorded what he believes may be the voice of New Zealand's legendary mohau, a creature whispered about by Maori elders, often dismissed by skeptics, a being known by many names across the islands. The forest replied to him, not just once, not just randomly, intelligently, a pattern, a mimicry. The sounds escalated, howls that vibrated in his chest, false cries like a ruru owl, but wrong, grunts and squeals, pig-like at first, until the tone shifted into something else entirely, something unplaceable. He wasn't just hearing the woods breathe, he was hearing conversation. And still he pressed record. He's been featured on local news, captured lights in the sky above this same mountain. But this was different. He believes there were multiple beings in the bush that night. He believes he wasn't just watched, he was engaged. Let's shift now, across the ocean, to Fraser Valley, British Columbia. A different continent, a different climate, but the presence, the same. A man bends to wash his face in a frigid stream. Winter morning, clear skies. He turns casually, and he sees it, 15 feet away, upslope, not obscured by trees. A figure, towering, covered in long gray-white hair, its head brushing just beneath the branches of a Douglas fir, trimmed clean 12 feet up. And it's not moving. No sound, no approach. Just standing there, meeting his eyes, and he knows, without question, what it is. He acknowledges it. Then he finishes washing his face, looks back, gone. Why did it show itself? Why let itself be seen at all? We ask what Bigfoot is. A relic hominid? A forest spirit? A traveler between worlds? But maybe that's the wrong question. Maybe the better one is, why do they reveal themselves to some people and not others? September, Conkle's Hollow, Ohio. Dusk has just settled across the ridge, painting the stone cliffs in deep gray shadows. The air is cooling quickly, and the sky is falling dark. A father and his son remain behind, long after the rest of their family has returned to the cabin below. They stand alone on a narrow ridge where slabs of rock jut into the air like something time forgot to finish. It's a place carved by nature, and perhaps something else. The father picks up a rock and strikes it against the hollow of an old tree. 3 times. They wait 20 seconds. No sound. And then a massive, deep knock crashes through the forest. Wood slamming against wood, so loud it shakes in the chest. Not a stick. Not a branch. This was a tree, full force, answering them. The man grips his son's shoulder. Someone or something is here, breaking every park rule, responding. And then, as if provoked, a boulder crashes down just below them, not rolled, not dropped, thrown. The boy grabs his father's leg. They freeze, fear tightening every muscle. And then, silence again. They move quickly, heading toward the tourist trail exit before the night swallows them completely. The father whistles in a pattern, a code, and in return, a roar so primal it shakes them to the bone. Not coyote, not bear. This sound doesn't match anything. Not on this continent. And somewhere deep in the dark, something is watching. February 2017. 10 miles into the backcountry outside Boulder, Colorado. 2 friends set out on a winter squatch hunt. It's the dead of night, below freezing and pitch black. No black bears this time of year. No human activity for miles. They're completely alone. At least they think so. They've been hiking for hours. Wood knocks, howls. No response. So they turn back. One friend heads off trail to relieve himself. The other stays behind, looking at the snow. And that's when he sees it. A footprint. Defined heel. 5 curled toes, moving, 10 feet apart. A 10-foot stride, barefoot, in February, in Colorado. Then, movement at the edge of the clearing. A rock, 30 to 50 pounds, sails through the darkness and crashes to the right of where they're standing. Then another, and another. Sticks, pine cones, more rocks, flying, following. They retreat. Down the trail now. Something is walking with them, parallel, hidden. Then they hear it, not once, not twice, but again and again, from high up in the canopy. Not birds, not wind. They can't see it, but they know. Something is tracking them for over 2 miles. Then just a mile from their car, it gets closer. Eyes shine. 10 feet off the ground. Bright, reflective. 1 second, 2 seconds. Gone. They jog the final stretch to the trailhead. Just before reaching the car, it was real. Tonight, I'm not the storyteller. The forest is. These are real accounts submitted by people across the world. From Florida to Ireland, Alaska to Alberta, the witnesses didn't go looking for the strange, but something found them. Let's begin. Bang in the Night location, Alberta, Canada, 1976. It was 2 a.m. in the Alberta foothills just outside Medicine Hat. A man and his girlfriend had parked their van for some rest. The night was calm until a loud bang on the side of the truck woke us both up. I looked out the back window and saw it. A tall, long-haired animal running upright across the road. He didn't say anything. He told her they needed to leave, now. For years, I blocked it out. It's strange. Your mind doesn't let you believe what you saw. I think it looked back at me, but I can't be sure. Location, Northern Ireland. A hiker in Northern Ireland takes his Cavachon on a new trail in County Antrim. He's usually hyper, running and jumping. But that day, he stopped, froze, looked straight into the forest. Then the hiker hears it, a howl, like a wolf, but deeper, almost like a bear. But we don't have wolves here, or bears. Then through the trees, something 8 to 10 feet tall, dark, shaggy. It dropped to all fours, then stood, then vanished. I had to drag my dog. He wouldn't move. Florida, family, and the forgotten location. Florida. He saw it when he was 6. I was on my bike. Shoelace got caught in the chain. As I fixed it, I looked up. A black figure, 7 feet tall, watching. Then it walked off. He kept seeing them, always at the edge, always just before they disappeared. I saw them standing on cliffs near the rivers, catching the breeze. My most recent sighting was just 3 months ago, a leg and waist vanishing into the trees. He believes it's a family, a troop, generations. My great-grandfather said a gorilla came to the window when babies cried. She didn't hurt anyone, just watched, like she was concerned. Stalked in Kobuk Valley location, Alaska. A hiker ventures off-trail in Alaska's Kobuk Valley. I felt watched. I called out, nothing. Then knocks, loud, surrounding me. Then boulders, huge ones, flying overhead. And then eyes red, peeking from behind trees. I walked toward it. It vanished. Then I turned, and it was behind me, watching again. He wasn't attacked. He wasn't chased. I think it escorted me out. And when I crossed some invisible line, the forest came alive again. Birds, bugs, wind, everything returned. Thumps in the Pines location, Bend, Oregon. At 2 a.m., a resort worker in Oregon heads to the laundry room. I felt a thump through the ground, in my knees, then another, closer, and then running. Bipedal, fast, powerful. I've hiked Montana, Wyoming, Colorado. I know how elk, bear, deer sound. This was different. This was upright, and with each step, I felt the ground tremble. Desert skunk of Ranchita location, California. Locals call it the Montezuma monk. Others, the skunk ape of Ranchita. My dog Rembrandt and I went hiking. We found a huge pile of vomit, maybe scat, full of seeds, like raccoon droppings, but the size of a dinner plate. Then came the smell. Sulfur, rot, blood. I've never smelled anything like it. It made me gag. Down in a desert crevasse, the thing appeared. 8 feet tall, mangy, hairless patches. Rembrandt barked, and it screamed. Not a howl, not a roar. It sounded like a cat being skinned. I crapped my pants. I'm not ashamed. I picked up my dog and ran. He went back, but the desert held its secrets. They are everywhere. The woods, the cliffs, the crevasses, standing, watching, waiting. Not every monster is evil. Not every scream means danger. But if you find yourself staring into the brush and something stares back, don't follow. Don't knock. And whatever you do, don't run. Chewelah, Washington, a quiet town nestled in the forests of the Pacific Northwest. It was meant to be a relaxing escape, a weekend in a remote yurt, off the grid, wrapped in silence, swallowed by trees. But for one couple, what started as a peaceful getaway would end in a rush of fear and questions that still haven't been answered. The first 2 nights were uneventful, still, dark, and deeply quiet, the kind of quiet that city dwellers rarely experience, a silence so thick it presses against your ears. On the final night, somewhere around midnight, they were playing cards by the fire when it happened. A crash, like something massive, had hurled itself into the side of the yurt. Startled, the boyfriend grabbed a flashlight and rushed to the door. He threw it open just as he had the night before, when he saw a deer's eyes glinting in the beam. But this time, there were no eyes, no glint, no deer, just a figure, pale, slender, gray or white, human-like, but not quite, and it moved, fluid, silent, crouched, like a cat, like something watching and deciding. It slinked out of view, vanishing into the black. Not a sound, not a word, just gone. He didn't chase it. Would you? December 21st, 2024. Nearly 800 miles away, in Gunnison County, Colorado, another couple is driving south on Highway 135. The sun's low, throwing gold across the East River, snow on the shoulders, the temperature a brisk 20 degrees. As they pass the entrance to the Roaring Judy Fish Hatchery, the boyfriend looks out over the marsh. He sees it, a figure, tall, 7, maybe 7.5 feet, jet black, still as a statue, standing in water or swamp, arms hanging low past the waist. No movement, no color variation, not a man, not a fisherman, just watching. From the trees, he blurts out, "Did I just see a Bigfoot?" They double back, but by the time they return, the figure is gone. Just river, trees, and silence. Later that night, a Google search delivers a shock. A nearly identical Bigfoot sighting in that very same spot, down to the hatchery and the shape of the creature. We expect to see deer in the woods, elk, maybe the occasional bear, but something white and slinking around yurts at night, or a tall black silhouette standing silently in the river. These aren't normal encounters. These are the moments that stick to your bones. And they always seem to end the same way, with silence, not answers, just questions, and the chilling feeling that something was watching. Stay tuned. The forest isn't finished with us yet. They say Missouri is the kind of place where the woods keep secrets. You hike far enough, deep enough, past the trailheads, past the signs, and the land starts to feel old. Watching, listening. This next story takes us to Lake Giacomo in Lee's Summit, Missouri. A former Marine, experienced, level-headed, and trained in wilderness movement, was on a solo ruck. 50 pounds of gear on his back, trudging steadily 7 miles in from the trailhead. He wasn't new to endurance hikes or strange sounds in the woods, but on this particular day, the woods had a different tone. About 70 yards to his right, something big broke cover, but not like a deer, and definitely not like a bear. This was fast. It moved effortlessly, but with weight. The kind of motion that sends thumps through the forest floor. It shook the trees, pushed through underbrush like it wasn't even there. He couldn't see a clear shape, just the movement, the momentum in the wake of disturbed trees and brush. At first, he chalked it up to a large buck and kept moving. But a mile further into the woods, things got stranger. That's when he heard it. Not an animal call, not wind, not even a human whisper. A deep, guttural, "Huh?" Low and loud enough to rattle his chest like a subwoofer. Not a growl, not a bark. A voice, one that didn't belong. He froze. For a moment he questioned it. Was someone out there messing with him? Was it just his imagination? But his gut said otherwise. He felt dread, not fear of the unknown, dread of something ancient, something that wasn't supposed to be there, yet always had been. He was armed, Glock 48, hollow points, multiple magazines, and still, he turned around and started walking fast, back the way he came, back toward the car, back toward safety. He felt eyes on him the whole way. This man, trained, rational, a believer in facts over fantasy, walked away with more questions than answers. And for the first time, he began to consider the old stories, the ones passed down at campfires, the ones about tall, silent watchers who haunt the thick timberline. Lake Giacomo, it gave him a name he never believed in before. Bigfoot. It was May 2021, deep in the wet, tangled heart of Tate's Hell State Forest, Carabel, Florida. A place where GPS maps fade into swamps and headlights cut through pitch-black silence. An ex-couple had arrived late. It was after 11 p.m., and their mid-sized truck crawled slowly down an unimproved road, miles from civilization. For 30 tense minutes, they navigated ruts, puddles, and creeping dread. The trail narrowed until branches scraped both sides of the vehicle like claws dragging across steel. And then, something emerged from the left side of the trail. It crossed, it stopped, and it looked directly at them. 4 to 5 seconds. That's all they got, but it was enough. It was walking upright, on 2 legs, arms swinging naturally, shoulders squared, eye shine reflecting red in the high beams. And then, gone. Disappeared into the dense marsh on the right, like it was nothing. The creature moved with terrifying ease through terrain that would swallow most humans whole. Mud, water, rain-slick roots. But this being, tall, dark, bipedal, crossed like it had walked that trail 1,000 times. They kept driving, another few yards, and they got stuck, dead in the water. Imagine this. You're knee-deep in Florida swamp muck, rain drizzling down, your truck's tires spinning uselessly. You just saw something, not human, and now you're outside the truck, alone. For 30 long minutes, he dug them out, completely exposed, vulnerable, and yet nothing happened. No footsteps, no stalking, no second appearance. Eventually, a tow truck arrived at 2 a.m. They didn't hesitate. They drove straight to a hotel and left the forest behind. The locals laughed. But here's the thing. When you're out there, miles off trail, on the wrong road, when you see something bipedal, powerful, and unfamiliar just feet from your windshield, you don't forget, no matter who believes you. It was early, much earlier than usual. Somewhere deep in northern Choctaw County, Alabama, a father and his young son made their way into the woods just north of Jackson to a remote hunting bottom. The rut was on, and for once, Dad insisted they leave before dawn. It was pitch black. The only light came from an old dying Maglite flashlight that barely pushed back the darkness. They walked nearly a mile along a set of old train tracks, the trestle bridge looming ahead. But something felt off. Something was pacing them. 5, maybe 10 feet into the woods, always just out of sight, something large moved with them, shadowing their every step. And then they reached the clearing. They laid low in the leaves, ready to wait for the sun. But still, something wasn't right. The woods were dead quiet. No birds, no squirrels, no wind, just tension and fear. Dad, the no-nonsense football coach, the man's man, was visibly rattled. The boy had never seen him like this. But finally the sun began to rise. And for a brief moment, the forest came alive again. Chirping, rustling, sighs of normalcy. Until 7:15 a.m. The woods exploded with crashing sounds, branches breaking, limbs falling. Something massive was coming through the forest, right toward them. And that's when Dad did something strange. He handed his Remington 700 rifle to his son, a 30-06 with a crystal-clear Bushnell scope, and he said in a tone that made the boy's stomach drop, "It's a big buck, As soon as it comes out, shoot it. But it wasn't a deer. Through the scope, the boy saw it. 7 to 8 feet tall, dark brown, nearly black. Matted hair, long limbs, and a force of nature so powerful, it tore down a pine tree with ease. He hesitated. A strange chill crawled over him. Every fiber of his being screamed, "Don't shoot." It wasn't an animal. It wasn't a buck. It was something else. He begged his father to look. Just look through the scope. But Dad refused. He kept saying, "Shoot." The boy raised the rifle one last time, and the creature was gone. Vanished. They never spoke of it. Not for 30 years. Not until Thanksgiving. And when they did, his father repeated every detail. Verbatim. Word for word. The shadow in the trees. The crash in the water. The dread in his gut. The boy, now a man, shared how the creature followed him in nightmares for years. Always watching. Always just at the tree line. They don't know what it was, but they both know it was real. And it never left them. They call him the Yowie. Australia's answer to Bigfoot. Towering, elusive, wild. And to those who encounter him, unforgettable. From the misty ridges of the Blue Mountains to the dense jungles of Queensland, legends stretch back through Aboriginal dreamtime, whispering of a creature tall as a man, cloaked in red or black fur, that watches from just beyond the trees. This is one of those stories. The narrator of this account is no stranger to the bush. A seasoned outdoorsman, he's camped deep in Australia's rugged interior. Solo, he's walked the ancient trails, fished the wild rivers, and spent countless nights beneath stars most city folk never see. But this was different. It started with something subtle. A walk through the woods with his wife, a remote trail, hours away from civilization, just the two of them, and the forest. The deeper they hiked, the stranger the woods felt. It wasn't threatening, not yet, but there was a hum in the air, a quiet, an absence. Then came the chatter. Not birds, not wind, but something that sounded like distant children. Aboriginal voices, soft and playful, drifting through the brush, but no one was there. The couple continued on. That's when it came. A single knock, loud, purposeful. Wood on wood. They stopped, froze. The narrator, familiar with the lore, knew exactly what it might mean. His wife, a skeptic, shrugged it off, but even she admitted it felt strange. Eerie, like the bush was responding to them. So they tested it, took a few steps forward on the trail, then pretended to turn back. Another knock, this one sharper, closer. They laughed it off at first, nervous, uncertain, but the bush had gone silent. Every bird, every insect, gone. The wife turned and said what they both were thinking. Let's just head back. Then it happened. A sound so loud it shook the trees. A tree, snapping, breaking in half, pushed, torn down. They couldn't see it, but they heard it, and they felt it. A booming, unnatural snap so close it momentarily disoriented them. No wind, no other hikers, just that sound, and the overwhelming sense they had crossed a line. And then, silence again, a silence that spoke louder than any scream. A message, clear. You've seen enough. Go they turned, and they walked. No more knocks, no more whispers, just the long trail out, and a story they'd carry forever. To the skeptics, this might sound like coincidence. Trick of the wind, branches falling from age. But to those who've heard the knock, seen the tree bend, or felt that sudden chill crawl down the spine, you know, there's something out there in the deep, and it's listening. You've just heard the voices of those who've stood on the edge of belief. From the hidden hollows of Ohio to the marshlands of Florida, the snowy ridges of Colorado, and the ancient bush of Australia, ordinary people, just like you and me, found themselves face to face with something they couldn't explain. Creatures that vanish into shadow, voices that echo in the trees, eyes that stare back from the dark. Whether you call them Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or Yowie, one thing is clear. They're not just stories anymore. They're encounters, warnings, and sometimes invitations. So if you're headed out into the wild, maybe chasing a trail, maybe chasing treasure, remember this: not everything in the woods wants to be found, and not everything that walks on two legs is human. Thank you for walking with us into the unknown. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your ears sharp, and your instincts close, because sometimes it's watching you too.